It's the 51st Annual Premier Volunteer Recognition Event, the 2016 Santa Clarita Valley Man and Woman of the Year Dinner. It's going to be held 6 p.m. on Friday, May 6th at the Hyatt Valencia. And what this is for is to honor men and women who've given outstanding volunteer service to the Santa Clarita Valley area. In the studio with me right now, I happen to have 2 nominees. I also happen to have 2 people who nominated somebody else. These 2 I love this story. Dianne and Allan, welcome to KHTS, and we get to talk today about the 2 of you not only being nominees, but having nominated. So I don't know, do we draw straws? Who wants to go first? Allan Pollack?
Okay, we'll go first.
You go first. You actually nominated the lady to your left.
I did.
Tell me all about this.
Well, Dianne Erskine-Hellrigel, I met a couple years ago actually on Facebook, and I was in the process of trying to send out some trial balloons over Facebook about a project which we'll talk about, I suppose, later. We're trying to get the St. Francis Dam site as a national memorial and monument. And I just had this pipe dream, which I had no idea how I was going to make reality. And I was lucky enough to meet this woman. Dianne Erskine-Hellrigel is somebody who, a lot of people talk about getting things done. She gets things done, and she has gotten things done in a lot of areas, and probably one of our greatest advocates for our local natural areas around the Santa Clarita Valley. And that's why I think she deserves to be nominated for this award.
Now, as president and executive director of the Community Hiking Club for about 16 years, I like that you are all about keeping Santa Clarita beautiful. You have spearheaded trash cleanups, graffiti removal, the river cleanup, non-native plant removal. Oh, I love that about you. I love that. Non-native fish removal to keep the wildlife corridor open, clean, and you've documented all the native flowers. I don't even know the spices in my cabinet. And you documented all the native flowers in and around Santa Clarita. And what does this mean? GPSed endangered species?
Yeah, absolutely. When I found endangered species in and around Santa Clarita in the forest, in the Angeles National Forest, both the San Gabriel Mountains and the non-contiguous Angeles National Forest, which is up towards Castaic. When I found them, I've documented them. I've taken photos and GPSed where I found them.
Oh, okay, that makes sense. So sort of the longitude and latitude of where they are.
Yeah.
And then it says you mapped and wrote an environmental report. And this got me on Magic Mountain, quote, not the theme park. What?
Yes.
Pleasant View Ridge. There's another Magic Mountain?
Yes, and it was Magic Mountain before Magic Mountain, the theme park. It is a mountain, and it is visible from the 14 freeway. As you go by somewhere around Golden Valley, Soledad Canyon off-ramps, you'll look to your right and you'll see some towers at the very top, and that is the summit of Magic Mountain. Magic Mountain in the 1930s and 40s was a military installation, and they had silos. They still have the silos there, but they don't have the missiles in the silos. And so it was owned by the government, and at night the mountain glowed. And so the few people that lived in Newhall said, oh, it must be magic. It's Magic Mountain. And that's how it got its name.
That's how it's got it. You know, thank you for that. I've never known the answer to that.
Yep. And then the theme park stole it.
Oh, they just...
Yeah.
Now, and you also work with the local condors, which I'm not sure, where did you removed more than 5,000 pounds of glass shards. Where did the glass come from?
People go up there into the forest and they shoot bottles for target practice and they leave the shards there. And the unfortunate thing is, and they also dump up there. So any small piece of nails or staples and, chunks of wood with screws in them, the glass especially, the condors love. They're like little kids, and they're attracted to anything that shines.
Shiny. Yeah.
And so they actually can see from 2 miles up, and when it glints in the sun, they come down and they eat it, and it kills them, and then they regurgitate it to their chicks, and it will kill their chicks as well.
That's sad on every level.
Yeah, 5,000 pounds of glass I've removed removed from the forest.
So Allan Pollack, this woman is tireless. She just goes and she goes and she does, and so this is who you nominated. I think that was a good choice.
She works all the time. I mean, every minute of the day, this lady is involved with getting things done in the valley here. I can't think of a more appropriate nomination.
I love that. Okay, now Dianne, you nominated Allan Pollack.
I did, because he's one of the most amazing people I've ever met.
This is just a racket we have going here.
I love this. I love this. A mutual admiration society. But you too, Allan, you are also, Dr. Pollack, incredibly one of our true gems because of the St. Francis Dam, you have worked tirelessly. That has been a true love of yours. But you've been president of the Historical Society for the past 8.5 years, at preserving the history of Santa Clarita, and you love your community. And Dianne, was it the work he does in history and the Placerita Nature Center, Rancho Camulos, all the different organizations he's worked with? Also another tireless human being, work on behalf of Santa Clarita. So thank you for that.
I came to learn about Allan through our work with the St. Francis Dam. I do the legislation. He brought it to me and he said, can you help me with this? And at first I was skeptical, but as I heard more and more about it, I became fascinated with the people who lost their lives, and I wanted there to be a memorial there. I mean, it deserves a memorial. Yeah. And so Allan and I have been working basically hand in hand over the last 2 years to get this done. And this week, in fact, yesterday, today, I've been working on the legislation on the language. And it will be introduced by the 18th of the month, and the congressman tells me that he hopes that it will be out on the floor of the Congress for a vote before the end of this month. So
wonderful.
I'm very excited.
And just for people who may not have heard about the St. Francis Dam, this is sort of an injustice that we're trying to correct, that has been an injustice for the last 88 years.
Agreed.
An event where about 431 people were killed by a dam rupture in 1928. And because of the politics of the time, a lot of this event tended to be swept under the rug and forgotten about. And in spite of the fact that it is the second greatest disaster in California history and probably one of the top 20 or 25 in all of American history, it's mostly been forgotten. Probably most of the listeners here have never heard of this event. Yeah. And so we felt we needed to correct this and get an appropriate memorialization at that site for the magnitude of the event that happened there.
I think that's very important, and I'm really glad you can learn more about this. Is it at the scvhistory.com site, that information they can find that?
scvhistory.com. There is a page dedicated to the St. Francis Dam disaster with lots of information. Yeah.
Now, the two of you love this community. Dianne, why do you love Santa Clarita so much that you do so much for the community? You are a wonderful example, but what would you say to someone when they ask, why Santa Clarita? Yeah.
I absolutely love Santa Clarita. First of all, I live here. And so it's important to me that there's no trash in the city, there's no trash in the forest, that there's no graffiti here, that our wildlife is safe, and the city works so hard with open space, and I'm involved in that as well. And I couldn't think of a better place to live. I don't want to live in a place like downtown Los Angeles that's dirty and, full of graffiti and so on and so forth. And I am so proud of our city. I'm so proud of everything that they do, and I just want to be part of moving it forward and keeping it clean and beautiful.
I love that. And Allan, I've spoken with you before. You love your community, and no matter what happens after this event, the SCV Man and Woman of the Year, you're going to continue working on behalf of the Santa Clarita Valley, aren't you?
This is a great place. I grew up in the San Fernando Valley and moved out here in 1991. And just the combination, just the setting of the place, the people here, it's almost that small town atmosphere, but near the city.
Right.
It's a wonderful place to live. And the history here, which is my main passion, is incredible. I mean, it's just a microcosm of the Old West that has always been an interest of mine. So yeah, I totally have dedicated my life to preserving the history here, to preserving whatever we have left of historic buildings, and especially to get this St. Francis Dam project to completion.
I appreciate that. Dianne Erskine-Hellrigel and Allan Pollack. Sir, congratulations on your nominations as SCV Man and Woman of the Year, and we'll see what happens in May, but thank you for everything you do for Santa Clarita. It's an honor to speak to both of you.
Thank you so very much.
Thank you.